Thanks for watching Afternoon Live. People have been searching for the fountain of youth for centuries, fueling a longevity industry that often influences us with novelty solutions. But our next guest says the quality of our health span depends on a different approach. We welcome certified nutritionist and author of Adaptogens and Medical Herbalism, Donnie Yance. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Hannah. Wonderful to be on with you.
Let's start with the basics. What are we talking about when we use the term adaptogens?
Well, the term adaptogens came from Russian research when they were trying to figure out how to maximize human health. So they looked at various pharmaceuticals at first, and they were trying mostly to mitigate stress as it related to people in the armed forces, to pilots, to athletes, Olympic athletes. And so what they found was this group of plants that they started to give to people in all different situations, mostly stressful situations, that these plants didn't get rid of stress, but they mitigated the impact stress had in a negative way on our health. So they built robustness, they improved energy efficiency, how we utilize oxygen, glucose, fatty acids better. They protected us from various environmental stressors. And so they did large amounts of research, and then they coined this term around 1962 of adaptogens. And the primary indications are something that's non-specific, normalizing, and non-toxic. And I always throw in this term called the 4 Rs, something that improves our response, then helps us, well, first, even before response, improves our ability to recognize. So our bodies have to recognize when something isn't right, then it has to respond, and then it has to recover, and then it has to regenerate or rejuvenate itself. So adaptogens kind of fit in to that criteria of providing all of that and really building our root system. If you could see your health really like a tree, rather than worry about the topical branches, what am I going to do in this? What am I doing with that piece of my health? Start with the root system, because adaptogens and tonic herbs are the plants that really build us from the deepest part of our being and then outward.
Okay, and what about our mindset and setting healthy intentions? How does that come into play?
I think for sure our attitudes and our behaviors have a huge impact on our health. Matter of fact, research shows that being optimistic and being hopeful is at least equal to, if not even better, than, say, quit smoking and dealing with obesity. So our disposition is really important to our health, to our quality of life, to our ability to withstand diseases, and then to live a vibrant, abundant, long life. And so we notice people that are usually have great connections, great relationships, usually can not get rid of stress again, but process it. You know, everything has to keep moving. Part of disease is basically stagnation. You have emotional stagnation, you have fluid stagnation, you have blood stagnation, you have oxygen stagnation. So some of what we want to do is keep things moving, but then really focus on what I call the 3 types of nourishment. One is earthly nourishment, that's the food that we eat and ingest. The other is celestial nourishment, which is the air we breathe. And the last is heavenly or spiritual nourishment, which always comes down to 4 things: giving love, receiving love, feeling a sense of belonging, and feeling a sense of purpose.
That's a really beautiful perspective with all those things coming together. We have about a minute left. So what about getting more specific about the actual nourishing foods? Like, is going more plant-based more beneficial for longevity?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. When we study, say, the blue zones, we can see some of the common thematic elements of what seems to constitute their good health and long health. One of it is that all of these diets, all are plant-based diets. That doesn't mean you have to eliminate animal food, because really a good diet is a diverse diet. So the more diversity, the better. And sometimes if you understand the concept of hormesis, which means a place for everything, everything in its place, a famous Ben Franklin quote, it really pertains to food. So some people say, I like a pescaflexitarian diet that's 80% plant-based, 85% plant-based, 10%, 15, up to 20% animal food. Depends on the person, depends on the constitution, depends on the lifestyle, depends on the culture. So that's a good basis to go on. And then adapt your diet, just like we talked about adaptogens, to the time of year it is, to the geographical location, to your culture, to your chronic condition, if you have one, or an acute condition. If you have kidney stones, you want a diet that helps with passing those stones better. And if you have gout, you need a diet that deals with high uric acid in the body. So there are all these different lenses that we use, and lenses are a good way. We can look through our health through molecular lenses, cellular lenses, and organ system lenses. And then we can tweak things to be more and more specific for the individual.
Well, there's some really great attainable stuff here that we could definitely easily incorporate into our lives. So I really appreciate you spending some time with us. Thanks for chatting.
You are so welcome, Hannah. Great
Okay,
to be
we
here
will
with
have
you.
more information about Donnie on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.